There's the red light. Always the red light, then the green light, right? Max here. It's time for another Max Rants. And I've got something to rant about. I really do. I've lived overseas most of my life. I'm an American born, patriotic, God fearing United States Marine. And I love this country. I love almost everything about it. But every once in a while, some things are drawn into sharp contrast that show me just how idiotic and asinine our society can be. I guess if I had to title this letter, I would say, you just keep coming back for more. Only America celebrates elementary school, middle school, junior high school, and high school student graduations. Yes, that's right. I've never seen it anywhere like here. Doesn't it make your ass hurt when you see an elementary school, that's grades 1 to 6, holding graduation commencement exercises and even a celebration party, a dance? Let's not forget let's just call it public school 666. They got to have their yearbook. After all, it is 6 years of their lives, 7 if you count kindergarten. It's a big moment for clueless young parents who think this is normal. It's not. No, it may be normal for Americans, but it's not. For the sane mind, it's not. Parents pay for photos, yearbooks. Are you ready for this? Caps and gowns for the graduating class. This is about as stupid as it gets. I've seen a lot of really dumb shit in my life, but whoa, this sheer idiocy really should hit you in the gut even harder than it hits your pocketbook. As pomp and circumstance plays in the background, the school principal stands and calls the name of each graduate as they come up on the stage in their gown and their four-cornered beanie. He hands them a diploma. Somebody give me a plastic bag to into. Come on. It makes my ass hurt. Graduating from elementary school, well, that's about as difficult as tying your shoes, which many of those graduating kids are still working on that. They can't quite tie them. Hell, most of them can't even read a clock. You talk to these graduating sixth graders, whoa, if it's not a digital display, they can't read the hands on a clock. Their diplomas, come on, those are participation trophies. That's all they are. They don't mark achievement. They say you were there. Nobody fails elementary school anymore. They might have 40, 50, 60 years ago if they were really stupid, but today nobody does. The administration is not going to let that happen because the school district funds them based on how many kids go through the school. You hold someone back, guess what? That's one person you're not getting paid for. So, give them their diploma, toss their ass on the street. They're heading to the great high ground of middle school or junior high school, whatever you call yours. As long as students show up to school, most of the time, they're going to graduate. This is especially true where minority students are involved. Yet, here are proud, why, and ignorant parents paying for cap and gown rentals, party admission, class photos, and of course, that precious school yearbook. An elementary school near me, I was looking, they were having their exercises, their commencement. There were at least 3 limousines parked out front. What the hell is that about? Limousines for kids who are still picking their nose and shitting their pants. Come on. Now it gets really stupid. Let's go up the ladder one notch. Ching. Now it gets stupid. Graduating from middle school, that's usually grades 7 and 8, is celebrated with even more hoopla as the parents fawn over their little shits who completed those 2 remarkably unchallenging years. Again, caps, gowns, party admission, photos, this all rises to the surface as this minor accomplishment is given more fanfare, more pomp, more circumstance than many baccalaureates. Yeah, not that a bachelor's degree is all that these days. We'll talk about it in a few minutes. We'll talk about it. Now, for the third and final inflamed boil on the buttocks of public education and American life, here is the long-standing farce, this celebration of high school graduation. You know, that ba 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 ba. Yeah, that pomp and circumstance formerly reserved for universities. Boy, it's been all over American graduations, high school, forever it seems. Here is where the whole cap and gown, yearbook, awards, keynote speaker, graduation ball, gifts from proud parents all come into play. Mom and dad are so damned proud, even though half of them can't tell you why. Do you realize that in the United States, nearly 18% of high school graduates finish school functionally illiterate? The test? They are unable to follow the instructions on a package of macaroni and cheese dinner. That's according to the Pew Research study from 2023. Yeah, I know, it sucks, don't it? Again, you got to move them through to keep the money coming. In light of what a high school diploma means, or doesn't mean, or used to mean, the overall scheme of things shows it to be borderline worthless. The only real advantage to finishing high school now is that it gives you one step closer to go to college. Not that that's a treat, or trade school. Remember, too, that the high school diploma of 1960 is an achievement equal to attaining a bachelor's degree in 2022. Don't look at me. Go to the Pew Research Study 2020. Fact is, high school diplomas were worth as much then as a bachelor's is now. Now, I reel in the insanity of the American graduation scam. It's what it is. It's a frickin' scam. Parents, grandparents, uncles, and aunts spend many, many millions of dollars celebrating an erstwhile meaningless accomplishment. They're celebrating the completion of 12 years of being babysat, participating in sports, gathering with social cliques and friends, and that's all. That's it. Were our schools producing well-balanced and educated children, these awards might have meaning. Well, maybe high school graduation would anyway. However, I'm not going to budge on my opinion of this silly as shit primary middle school graduation. It is such a bunch of crap. Here's my summary. I always end in a summary. This pertains almost exclusively to government-funded public education and not the many quality private and parochial schools out there. Yes, America, there are still children graduating from high school who are highly literate, well-informed, and balanced kids. These young graduates have their wits about them and are a very canny group. Oh, did I tell you? They're coming from Catholic, Protestant, and other private schools.